welcome back everybody. This is Drew, the knee pain magician. So this week we're going to be working on mobilizing your ankle, specifically two joints in your foot that are going to help you overcome chronic knee pain and stiffness. So if you don't know, and this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. And also this channel is dedicated to people who are active, over the age of 50, struggling with chronic knee pain. All right, so today we're going to be focusing on mobilizing two important joints in your ankle. And the reason why we're doing that is because oftentimes knee dysfunction, whether it's pain or stiffness, can actually stem from lack of mobility in the important joints where your shin meets your foot. So we're going to be working on mobilizing a joint where your fibula meets your foot and mobilizing a joint where your tibia meets your foot. So I want you to think about kind of the outside of your ankle and the inside of your ankle. Oftentimes corresponds to lateral knee pain and medial knee pain. So outside knee, we're going to be mobilizing the outside of the ankle. Inside knee, we're going to be mobilizing the inside of the ankle. Hopefully that's a simple way that you can think about it at home. Okay, so if you look at my left foot, you're going to see these two black marks. And that's the foot I'm going to be demonstrating on. So that's assuming that you have left knee pain. If you have a right knee pain, you're going to be focusing on the joints on that side respectively. So if you see my foot straight ahead, you can't see the marks, but once I rotate my foot, you're going to be able to see the lateral or outside part of my ankle right beneath my ankle bone. You see that big X, right? X marks the spot. If you look at the inside or the medial part of my ankle, you're going to see another X, again, right underneath the ankle bone. So lateral ankle corresponds to the lateral or outside part of the knee. Medial or inside part of the ankle corresponds to the medial part of your knee. Okay, so before I demonstrate today's exercise, the first thing I want you to do is check in and assess how your knee is feeling. So before I ever coach you through an exercise, you need to be able to see like how your body currently is so that once you test out the exercise that I'm coaching you through, you can see, oh, okay, that does feel better. So how do you assess how your knee is feeling? You can do a couple different things. Usually what I have people do is go for a walk, right? So you can see, okay, how is the overall quality of my movement? As I'm walking and I plant on my left leg as an example, I really feel that kind of that sharp chronic pain in going through the left knee. Or maybe you might say like, I'm really kind of noticing that I have this kind of this big drag in my leg and I have a noticeable limp. Those are kind of some of the important barometers that we're trying to pay attention to, right? Your pain level as you're walking. You could also think of about a scale of pain, 1 to 10, 10 being you feel terrible, horrible. 1 is you feel amazing, kind of where are you in the moment? So you may have discomfort with your knee where you're able to sense what your pain is without moving. And that's okay because that's totally dependent upon just your own body. If you need to move a certain way in order to kind of like trigger their pain per se, then I want you to kind of go through that movement process. Maybe it is something as simple as standing up from your chair where you're feeling your knee, yeah? Maybe you need to take a few steps going down the stairs or going up the stairs. Maybe you need to do a slight rotation. Any kind of movement where you're able to judge and evaluate the quality of your knee function or how it feels is important for us because after we do these exercises, I'm going to have you go back and reassess and see if that movement triggers the same amount of pain. Obviously, we're looking for an improvement or a decrease in pain and stiffness, but we just want to make sure that you're doing the right exercise for you. Okay, so this first exercise is called a lateral ankle tilt. So the name kind of describes the exercise perfectly. You're going to take your ankle or foot and you're going to laterally tilt or rotate it. So I want you to look at my foot. You see the black mark, X marks the spot. So you can do this exercise with shoes on, but it's preferable that you do it with shoes off. So you can try to get the most out of the movement and really kind of hone in on the specific joint we're trying to mobilize. So if you look at me standing up nice and tall, You can hold something if you need to for a little bit of balance. This isn't a balance exercise, it's a mobility drill. So I'm going to step forward with my left leg. And if you look at my left ankle, I'm just going to do this very nice and gentle tilt. It's kind of like I'm purposely spraining my ankle. Or it's like a deep stretch. So what you want to avoid is moving the entire leg or your whole body, right? This isn't a full body movement. We're trying to focus on moving this specific area, getting a nice deep stretch there. So that's where the outside part of your fibula connects from your knee down to your foot. And basically what we're trying to do is kind of rotate it like this to provide a little bit more movement between those two bones. So notice I'm trying to keep my leg pretty stiff. I'm doing a very kind of gentle, specific movement with my foot. As my foot goes out, my toes aren't out, but I kind of like curl in. So you feel your arch a little bit. And just very gentle. And I really want you to try to develop that mind-body connection so that you can really feel kind of opening up, moving that joint. You're not going to feel like a joint movement per se, unless the joint's really stuck, and then you may feel kind of a little bit of a movement there. But for the most part, it's just going to feel like a deep stretch within your tissue, which is totally fine. But just focus on doing that movement. If you see me from the side, it looks like this. Again, look at the X. Notice the rest of my body is super still. And I'm really focused on doing that particular movement. Rotating or tilting my ankle laterally away from me. Okay, once you've done that, you can shake it off a little bit, rub your foot, ankle if you need to. And then I want you to go and reassess, do the exact same kind of movement screening that we did prior to this exercise. So maybe you're going for a walk, you're sitting down, you're standing back up, kind of checking in with that knee. Maybe you are going down or moving up a couple stairs, and just kind of check in. How does your knee feel now that you've mobilized that specific joint? If you have lateral or outside knee pain, that can often be a really amazing exercise for you. It can provide an immediate reduction in pain and stiffness. But we need you to go and move and kind of check in to see if that is the exercise that you need to work on. Okay, so now that we mobilized the lateral part of your ankle to help with outside knee pain, we want to mobilize the inside of your ankle to help with inside knee pain. So this is going to be specifically for your tibia, your shin bone. And again, look at X marks the spot. So this exercise is a little bit harder, and you're not going to feel it quite in the same level of stretch, but it can be really helpful nonetheless. So basically what you're going to do is stand up nice and tall. You're going to take a big lunge to the right, big step out to the right. And again, so my right leg can be slightly bent, but we're trying to focus on this left ankle. So we don't want to have too much bend over here. We want everything to be pretty rigid. But again, not kind of rigid within the muscles, but just a straight leg. So if you look at my left foot, watch that ankle, because I'm going to gently rotate it inside now. So the outside of my foot lifts as the inside of my foot goes closer to the ground. So now instead of stretching the outside part of my ankle, I'm opening up, mobilizing, and stretching the inside portion of my ankle. Inside portion of the ankle is connected to the inside of the knee. Again, immobilizing just like this. Flat foot, inside ankle tilt. And as I do this, I feel it from my ankle all the way up through the inner thigh, all the way up into my groin. One thing you want to pay attention to is don't be too shy in that lateral lunge. Like take a big step. Again, you hold something if you need to, right? This isn't a balancing exercise. And what we're trying to do is really get that good mobility within the inside of that left ankle. So what we want to avoid also is kind of this internal rotation of your thigh, right, of your femur. We want to keep everything nice and stiff, and we really want to get that mind-body connection specifically with that ankle, mobilizing the inside of that ankle joint. So again, if you're looking at my ankle, it looks like this. That's inside or medial ankle tilt. And this is outside or lateral ankle tilt. Okay, so now after you've done your lateral and your medial ankle tilts, mobilizing the outside and the inside part of the ankle, I want you to, again, go for another walk, reassess your body. Maybe do a few squats, stand up from sitting down, try that a couple times, go up and down a couple of stairs, and again, check in with that knee. How are you currently feeling? What we're looking for is smoother quality of movement, less pain, a reduction in stiffness, an overall kind of a better feel of alignment and strength and stability within your knee joint. So again, when we focus on improving the mobility within the foot and the ankle complex, specifically these two joints that we worked on today, they can be very good in alleviating pain and stiffness within the knee joint. So after you've gone and reassessed after that exercise, we're going to wrap up with one more mobility drill. Okay, so for our third and final exercise of the day or the week, we're going to be working on something called ankle circles. So I've done this a lot in previous videos, but it's always really good to do, especially after you do these specific exercises. So what we worked on today, something simple called ankle tilts, right? Tilting your ankle laterally, tilting your ankle medially, good movement to mobilize those specific joints. But now what we want to do is kind of take your foot through a full range of motion. So you could do this sitting down. Obviously I'm sitting up, so it's going to be easier for me to demonstrate this. But I am going to lift my left leg, not let any part of my left foot touch the ground. And without moving my whole leg, I'm just gently going to do a full circle. So I am mobilizing my foot and ankle through a full range of motion. Notice as I move my foot up, my toes come up and try to separate. I'd get a little space. And as my foot comes down, my toes curl down, and I actually try to feel the musculature at the bottom of my foot. So I want to work on 10 circles clockwise. Remember to breathe. Pay attention to the level of coordination and control you have. We want to avoid being jerky, and we want to try to have a maximum range of motion. So oftentimes when I coach someone through this, if they have some problems, they are too fast or their movement is jerky, and they also don't have the same kind of range of motion. Some areas they have good movement, and then other areas seem to be very stiff. So pay attention to where you feel limited in that circle, and I want you to try to focus and develop that area. So again, moving that ankle through a nice full range of motion, and making sure to incorporate your toes in the movement as well. And try to get 10 full circles each direction. Okay, so that's it for this week's video, and we focused on 3 specific exercises. We mobilized the lateral or the outside part of your ankle to help with outside knee pain. We mobilized the medial or the inside part of your ankle to help with inside knee pain. And then after we worked on those specific ankle tilting exercises, we worked on moving the foot and ankle through a full range of motion, clockwise and counterclockwise, about 10 reps each, just to kind of concretize the mobility work that we did do. So Hopefully you appreciated and benefited from this week's video. If so, I always appreciate your support. If you can, click the like button and subscribe to my channel. That would be amazing. In addition to that, if you're someone who has been struggling with chronic knee pain and stiffness for quite some time, maybe you've been told by your doctor you have osteoarthritis, you're bone on bone, but you used to be very active. And now, unfortunately, you are very limited in what you can do, and you don't feel great because of whatever's going on with your knee. And so I've got an additional resource for you. If you look at the bottom of my channel or the bottom of this video, and at the homepage, I have a video that's a free training, and it tells you more about this brain-body connection. What are the root causes of knee pain? Hint, it's not about osteoarthritis. And how you can overcome it by improving the way that your body works, by mobilizing your joints, improving your vision, and by reestablishing that brain-body connection. So even though you may have bone and bone, even though you may have deterioration within your joint, you can overcome chronic knee pain without reliance on injections and without a surgery in the future. So if that interests you, I encourage you to check that video out. And that's it for me. Thanks so much for joining me, and talk to you next week. Bye-bye.